Horror, with your hostess with the mostest, Jen Bell, as always. Welcome back. So, it is documentary of the week time, and I promise it is not another, video game documentary review. No, we are moving on to another wrestling one. Sorry if you're not a wrestling fan or a gaming fan. But no, I actually picked up a movie. I saw this at Walmart a few days ago, more like a week to 2 weeks ago when I actually post this, and that is actually the 30 for 30 from ESPN, Nature Boy. I'm the Nature Boy. Now this actually, I did see this when it aired on TV on ESPN. God, what was it? Back in, I want to say like October, November at the latest. I believe it was October. But yeah, so saw this, and even back when I first initially saw this, oh my god, let me tell ya, Niagara freaking Falls, just like the Andre the Giant documentary that HBO did and that I reviewed. Terrific little documentary. I know I've seen at least one other 30 for 30 by ESPN, the one that was about some of the NXT stars and stuff. And I mean, I know the 30 for 30 series, it's very well done all the time. Everyone's always kind of raving about it. It is. Even with the two that I've seen, superb stuff, let me tell you. But yeah, so this Nature Boy one, Ric Flair. So it talks about his career and everything. It talks to quite a few different people, from Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Vern Gagne, or at least his son. I think his son, because Vern Gagne, I believe, is passed. I think. Even some of his kids, such as Ashley Flair, aka Charlotte Flair, his other son and stuff, a few of his wives and everything. Yes, a few of his wives. Yeah, he is truly a player. Literally, I mean, he, all those stories of Ric Flair of being this drinker, this, playboy and everything, this womanizer, completely true. And it's really kind of sad, because he is so idolized and respected in the wrestling world, but it's also kind of really sad because it's it caused a number of divorces. It caused him not to be really the greatest dad. Even his kids kind of were saying, yeah, love our dad, but, instead of, spending time with us like we wanted, he would just kind of come back home with, one of his daughters, I think his oldest daughter, was yeah, I would, or no, maybe it was Charlotte, who's yeah, he would come home, and it would not be uncommon for him to come home with 15 to 20 Cabbage Patch dolls. Yeah. So things like that, where it's just he wasn't the greatest father, because, he was on the road all the time. And especially too, considering, he was a 16-time world champion, so, and each time you're a champion, for those of you who aren't really into wrestling or anything, obviously, if you hold some sort of a championship, you're going to be on TV a little bit more, because that's part of your brand. You're, representing the brand and everything, and especially a world champion, that's in ECW and NWA, that was the highest belt, that was the highest tiered belt, so it's you had that meant you were the top guy, the company had that much faith in you, and to do it 16 times, there's only one other person who has been tied. Other people I know have had a lot of different sort of belts and everything, that more times and everything, such as Jerry Lawler, but that was from so many different promotions. I know Lawler I think has over 100 belts, but it's you figure from NWA, AWA, Memphis, and this and that, so it's it wasn't all in the same company or anything. But the only other person who has done that with the same company, and I hate to even say his name because I can't stand him, is Mr. John Cena. Sorry to anyone who's a Cena fan. I do respect the guy, what he does outside the work, but All right, but anyway, we're not talking about John Cena. Anyway, so like so just to give you a perspective on like how much he was out on the road and everything, and how many times he has been champion. Like that's a lot. That is really a lot and everything. So, um, but yeah, it just so like they go into like such depths about that and stuff. And they talk about the death of his son Reed, who passed away in 2013, and oh my god, like that just that will God, if that doesn't make you cry at that point, dude, then you have no fucking soul. You really don't. And that's really sad too because like I know Reed, uh, you know and you can kind of see too with some of like the old film footage, like Reed was kind of like, um, the pride and joy to Ric Flair because he was like an amateur wrestler. He was, very promising. Looked like he was on his way to, kind of following in his dad's footsteps to going to like WWE and everything. It went so much to as far as like he went I guess tryouts or something. They drug tested him, and Paul Levick, aka Triple H, was like called Ric Flair and was like, "Hey, look, I just tested Reed. There's like all these different drugs," and kind of like read off like what and to Ric Flair like what was in his system. He's like, because you are Ric Flair and everything, I'm letting you know, like, I'm gonna give him one more chance, like, like, we don't ever do this, especially giving someone a heads up on, hey, we're gonna drug test you again, he better shape up because, if he's serious about this, and because he's your son, like he better like if he's serious about this, I'm giving him one last chance. And I guess they tested him again, and there was even like more drugs in his system than like the first time. So it's just like it just heartbreaking just to think about that and everything. But I mean, I know Reed kind of like idolized his dad and everything, and like Ric Flair like even admitted at one point like yeah he doesn't even know how he has a liver and stuff. And that's the other thing that's sad because I mean, as much as he is, like I said, idolized and respected, it's kind of like at the same time, especially with like the second viewing that I was watching the other day, it's like I'm sorry, I'll say Ric Flair's a freaking drunk, and he probably should have been in rehab like a good 106 times, like. But because he's Ric Flair, no, we want him to go ahead and like keep reeling, dealing, styling, and profiling, man. Woo! But yeah, I mean, it's things like that. I mean, I hate to say that about him, but it's like at the same time, if he was anyone else in whether it's a Joe Schmo or anyone else in like the business, whether it's Hollywood or wrestling or sports or whatever, like he would have had plenty of interventions. And maybe he might have a little bit of sex problem. Just saying. But no, it's a terrific documentary. I mean, I would really recommend this to anyone, and even like for me, because I mean, even when I was growing up, when I first was getting into wrestling, like '93ish, like I knew who Ric Flair was, but he was always kind of like one of those like old time guys. I wasn't really interested. Like back in the day with like Dusty Rhodes, like before he became got into WWE, or like Vern Gagne, George Steele, George the Animal Steele, Gorilla Monsoon, or like actually a little later than that. But like what I'm saying, like he was older. I didn't really have much interest, but I've definitely gotten much more respect and admiration, and a little more into like that period, like the Ric Flair period with like Jesse the Body Ventura and stuff. You know, so it just I have a little more appreciation for the old school wrestlers and stuff. And like also too like superstar Billy Graham, guys like that I'm really kind of like have so much more respect for than like the guys today. Just saying. Um, all that stuff you can go ahead and watch on the WWE Network. I'm just saying. But anyway, but no, definitely check this one out if you guys have seen this one. Let me know what you thought of this and everything. Like I said, I loved it. I think ESPN when they do their 30 for 30s on anything, always terrific. So check it out though. But till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.